Actually, let's look at the word Brahmacharya. Brahma is the name of God, and the Charya means to be close to, be a relative of. So it doesn't mean, Brahmacharya doesn't mean abstinence from sex. It means being close to God. Yeah. So it could mean what it really means is not being involved in any infatuation, in any attachment or addiction which makes me stop seeing the divine. Because that could be a person, it could be sex, it could be food, it could be drink, it could be anything which infatuates my senses and makes me forget the presence of the divine. And this is why Tantra is the solution, because in Tantra the whole idea is that when I unite with my partner, I'm uniting with an incarnation of the divine. I'm uniting with the Divine Mother. I'm uniting with the Divine Father. And I'm becoming one with God as I unite with this person. This is the whole concept of Tantra, which can also be applied to food. I am eating God. This food is a manifestation of God, just as my partner is a manifestation of God. So the whole idea of Brahmacharya is not so much not to have sexual contact, or not to eat, or not to do any of these things. Is to be aware of the divine when I am engaged in these sensual inputs. So it has to do with sensual inputs and not losing the awareness of the divine when I'm engaged in sensual pleasure. And that's the whole idea of Tantra. So what can we say here about how we can interpret Brahmacharya in our Western lives? The possibility of totally transmuting this sexual energy is quite difficult. It's quite difficult, and probably one would have to be in a monastery. If he watches television, if he reads newspapers, if he reads magazines, if he looks at billboards, the whole society is created in such a way as to continuously stimulate. You want to sell jam, you put a sexy woman on the cover of it. Anything you want to sell, whether it's a car, anything, a cigarette. I mean, the whole society has focused on this center in order to sell what they want to sell. In movies, continuously we are programmed that people live their lives and people make love at least 20 times a week, and that a viral person will be making love every day, when the reality is not this, you see. So it's probably unreasonable to think about the possibility of living in this society and completely being able to transmute the energy. So how can we find a balance in this? One balance is that if we are not married, then we should be very clear about having sex only with someone with whom we feel that we are interested in creating a conscious love relationship. And that we are wanting to use this relationship also for our growth process. And it's not simply a physical release. Because this will create various problems as far as our spiritual growth is concerned. It's also, you can get ill. It's not the creation of AIDS and these kinds of diseases is not by chance. It's a direct reaction towards a man's behavior in the last 30 years, you see. So it's not by chance that this was created so as to make people think twice about just sleeping with anyone, anytime. As far as when we are in a relationship, we might consider the possibility of finding other ways also to exchange this energy and to depolarize ourselves, such as hugging, holding, communicating, giving massage, dancing. And if the partner is interested, we might even consider this concept of Tantra. I have a couple of articles from magazines which describe the whole process, if anyone knows that they have a partner that's interested in this, and which describes step by step how one can come into contact and then try to work on raising the energy to the level of consciousness. So that, and more frequent exchanging of energy, saying positive things to the other person, affirming the other person, telling the other person what we admire in them, touching the other person. It's not that, we're these separate beings all week long until we come together and then we have this passionate release. It should be a constant flowing of energy throughout the day, of affirming and letting this energy flow between us. Of course, now some problems are created as one person begins to feel less need than the other person. And this could happen completely independently of any spiritual process. There are most couples at some point experience this problem, one or the other, from lack of energy, because they're not feeling well emotionally with the other person, they're feeling hurt, or they're giving all their energy in another direction, begins to feel less need than the other. And then this vicious circle is created because the other feels rejection, starts to doubt whether the other person also has this biological pressure or emotional pressure building up in them. That causes them to pressure the other person more, which causes the other person even to not be able to accept affection, being afraid of the fact that the affection is going to lead to sexual feelings, which causes the first person who needs the contact to feel more rejected, because not only he's not getting the sexual fulfillment, but he's not even allowed to have affection or contact because the other person is afraid where it will lead, and it leads to serious problems in the relationship. So in such a case, it's necessary for the couple to discuss. And it's very important for the person who is feeling less need to explain to the other person that it's not that I'm rejecting you. I do love you. I do care for you. It's just that, I haven't got a button that I can push to feel this way or feel the other way. It's just something's happening. But also to discuss the possibility of allowing affection, so that at least there can be affection or hugging or holding, and the other person agreeing, okay, I'm not going to let it get sexual. So that at least there can be this exchange of energy if one of them is not feeling that they want that to move on to a sexual level. See? So because what happens is that they become emotionally cut off, physically cut off, and it creates a lot of problem in the relationship. Now, another thing that we need to avoid at all costs is simultaneous relationships. It creates a lot of problems in the conscience, it creates problems in the energy, and of course, we are doing to someone something we would not like them to do to us. So this would be the most destructive way of handling our sex life, by having a simultaneous relationship with someone. I mentioned to you for each of the yamas and niyamas the result of perfecting it, and the result of perfecting this, but this is, as far as Patanjali is concerned, the abstinence and of sexual contact and the transformation of the sexual energy, which I think for most people in this society is not very possible, is the creation of a tremendous amount of spiritual energy, spiritual power, which might even allow that being to be able to do what we call miracles, to create things, to heal. This energy then becomes a spiritual energy which could be used for healing, helping people understand things through words. It becomes a spiritual power.